Welcome to Healthy Lifestyle with Lori Anne. I am Coach Lori Anne, America's #1 take action success coach and strategist, empowering, educating, inspiring, and igniting people to take action with jet propulsion. We assist people to find and embrace their life purpose, live their highest vision, and become the best next version of themselves, forging a strong foundation to soar to success. For more information about how to work with me and my team, visit us at ldcstrategies.com. Our goal here at Healthy Lifestyle is, of course, to empower minds, educate hearts, inspire action, and ignite success so you can choose to have a fulfilled, healthy, emotional, spiritual, and physical life, to live the life you have always wanted and dreamed. Well, welcome to the show. We're happy to have you here today. I hope you're having a great day. On Healthy Lifestyle, you know I love to give you some verbal caffeine to light you up with possibilities. And today is no different. Our guest here today on our show is Connor Kelly. An inspiration. And I loved when I met Connor. He has this great energy. He comes from New Jersey. He started tap dancing at 7 years old. And he did that with his aunt as his tap teacher. He trained at Jamie's Dance Odyssey under the direction of Jamie Down, and then later on with Robin Passmore. Throughout his teens, he trained at the American Tap Dance Foundation, performed at Broadway Underground, and attended Jersey Tap Fest and DC Tap Fest on scholarships. In 2012, he joined the cast of Tap Stars, directed by Janas, where he had the opportunity to perform at the Vancouver Tap Festival and the Kennedy Center, no doubt, right? Since 2023, he joined the Philadelphia Jazz Tap Ensemble and was the driving force behind the Brewery Town Tap Dance Festival, soon to be Philly Tap Festival 2024, and has been teaching and performing at festivals, conventions, and workshops around the United States. And he is a proud dad of a 1-year-old. He's excited to continue growing in tap dance as a performer, choreographer, and educator. And I live to tap dance, and he lives to dance for his life is absolutely a quote from him. Most adorable child I have ever seen tap dancing on his Instagram. His Instagram is at It's Connor Kelly. You have to see it. It's adorable. It's absolutely adorable. Welcome to the show, Connor. So happy to have you here.
Hi, how are you?
I'm great. Oh my goodness. That was the longest introduction ever, but
It's a
a good
tongue
one.
twister.
Gives a good background to you. So let's talk about tap dancing. I've always been infatuated with tap dancing. Full disclosure, love Gene Kelly and his dancing. Loved Fred Astaire. So that's oldies, right? Then move forward. Gregory Hines, totally adored what he did, his
Mm.
personality. And it's Savia, right?
Avion Glover, yeah.
Yes. Oh my God. Just inspiring, right? Always wanted to tap. Thought it was really great. But quick story. I was in a show and they were teaching us, the choreographer was teaching us the tap dancing steps. And there was a catwalk on stage, and we were all underneath and around the catwalk. And to hold up the catwalk, there's poles, right? So we're doing the moves, and all of a sudden you hear bing, and that's somebody banging into the pole as they're doing turns. So that was me. So I'm dangerous dancing, but I'm entirely exhilarated, and I admire anybody who dances like you. So this is so exciting to have you on the show. How did you get involved? Like, what at age 7 inspired you to become a tap dancer?
So the story that I'm sticking with is I I don't really remember because I was so young, but growing up, I always went to my cousin's dance recitals, and which actually her teacher was Robin Passmore, who later on becomes my mentor. So I asked for specifically black patent leather tap shoes for Christmas. That was all I wanted. And I think the year was like 1999 because I remember thinking, remember everyone was crazy about it. Something's going to change.
Yeah, in
In
2000.
my little kid head, I'm like, tap dance is going to change. I got to get these shoes, put them on and learn how to tap dance before everything changes. You know what I mean? Like,
That's cool.
lo and behold, yeah, my parents got me black patent leather tap shoes, and they were like, "Yeah, okay, it's probably a phase." And they took me to the local studio to take class because one of my aunts was a teacher, and I was pretty good at it. I always played the drums and like I had rhythm and stuff like that, so
Yeah.
I I excelled at it pretty quickly from a young age. Not to mention being a boy in a non-professional level, you're always like put it on a pedestal because they're like, oh my God, a boy.
Yeah.
But
Boy dancer. Oh my God. Yeah, I remember that, right? In dancing classes.
well, it's funny because when it's pre-professional, it's special to be a boy, but then at the tap dance professional level, it's mainly men. You know what I mean? Like male dominated sport is tap dance at a professional level. But
Yeah.
so yeah, I got those tap shoes and the rest is history, honestly.
So, and who are your inspiration from professional tappers?
So like you mentioned Savion, tap dance history is very rich with like American history because it comes from like slavery and the communication of rhythm to, express an actual idea. So it goes back to first like noted tap dancer. His name was Master Juba, William Henry Lane. And he battled a guy who did Irish step dance called John Diamond. And they were like the first back in like minstrelsy and stuff like that, which is, when they used to like wear blackface and all that stuff. He was the first noted tap dancer who like put it put it out into like the stages and whatnot.
Yeah, into the mainstream.
Yeah, mainstream. And then so years and years pass. I'm sure there's a lot of learning going on, a lot of stealing steps and whatnot. And then Bilbo Jangles Robinson, I'm sure you heard of him, which is
Yes.
his birthday is National Tap Dance Day. He was the first performer to refuse to wear blackface in the show, so he broke the barrier of because there was black people wearing blackface, right? To trick the audience into thinking that they're watching white people wearing blackface, but it was a lot of black people wearing blackface, so there were levels to the deception. You know what I mean? There was a
Yeah,
lot of
yeah,
craziness going on,
yeah. It's
and
hard to
he,
wrap my head around it because it's just, the differential, there's none, it's like
yeah,
we're good humans, bad humans. That's it,
yeah. I mean, back in the day, obviously it was
Right.
horrible, and
Yeah.
tap dance is one of those things where it really broke the barriers of like Bill Bojangles saying he was so popular that he had like the audacity to say, "I'm not going on stage wearing blackface," and they had to say, "Well, we need Bojangles." You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
that's two of my main inspirations.
That's
Juba,
where that song, Mr. Bojangles Dance, comes
yeah,
from.
yeah,
Yeah.
Mr. Bojangles. He has a great story. There's a lot of documented stuff, and then there's like masters of tap who is like, Sammy Davis Jr. is a well-known one. There's
Yeah.
Bunny Briggs. There's Baby Lawrence. There's literally John Bubbles. There's a lot of old acts that people consider old tap dance, but then they get it confused with what they see as old Broadway tap dance, which is like the gentrification of tap dance. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
But the masters, all black men. You know what I mean? It's an African American art form.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I
And communication.
yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
It's a tough subject to. I mean, we would need more than an hour to dive into that, but it's like, you to be in it, I think you must respect the history and understand it and search and seek for the truth in it. You know what I mean?
I love that you said that. Yeah, it's real important, and no matter what you do, is to understand the history of it, where it came from, how it evolved, if it evolved, how
Yeah.
it needs to evolve more. But in order to evolve, we must understand where it comes from and the impetus behind it. So there's intention behind everything that we do as humans. So we have to understand the intention behind it and then determine whether or not that's in alignment with us. And when we find that alignment, and then you can keep and respect the historics of it while enhancing it and changing it and modernizing it, if you will. So
Yeah.
that's what I see in tap, is that there's a certain element of structure of tap that is just essential with any kind of dance, right? But
Right.
then the interpretation comes out once you understand the historic. So history is really important in any conversation, especially in the arts, because we're reflecting the history of that particular art form. So I love that you said that. I mean, even miming has a very rich history, very similar actual history to tap, as far as wearing blackface, wearing whiteface, things like that. So I love that entire thing. But what I find really interesting is that you started tapping, you have a passion for tapping. Why'd you stop?
Well, I didn't stop. I always call it an unintentional hiatus because so after high school, I went to college for a semester or two. And, I was a hip hop artist. You know what I'm saying? I was making music.
Yeah.
I was doing all that. You
Air
know what I
quote.
mean?
Yeah.
I was living that life that comes along with partying and all the stuff that comes along with that. And just, slowly but surely, I stopped putting on my shoes. I stopped teaching class. I stopped taking class. I stopped going to New York. And 5 years later, I was, just doing absolutely having nothing to do with tap dance. And I was going down a bad, I was spiraling down a bad rabbit hole. That was,
Yeah, and you probably didn't have that feeling that you get in your chest that is just, when you're doing something that you love to do. You were
yeah.
probably missing that. And for some reason you took it away from yourself. Because I know I was singing and something happened. I took singing away from myself. I was reacting to what happened, but I took my own voice away. So it's kind of sounds like something happened along the way that you took your tap away. You took your passion away, but then what got you back into it?
Okay. So without getting to dark details, you know what I mean? So that partying and whatnot went on for a very long time, and I was still always making music. Like I like to just produce instrumentals and stuff like that. Partying and drinking and other stuff went way too far, and I ended up having to go to rehab a bunch of times, and you know what I mean? It got
Yeah.
pretty bad. Without, like I said, without the bad details. And then my main focus was trying to remain sober and, just being healthy. And I'm still making music a little here and there. And I linked up with my girlfriend actually in Long Island, my now girlfriend. And we got together and we were together for a long time. And I was pretty good on being sober, you know what I mean? I was remaining on the track. I was even going to like AA and stuff like that.
Sure. It's a commitment. It's a
Yeah.
commitment.
And couple, a year maybe passed, and then we found out we were having a daughter to our surprise. And I was literally working at Amazon, not just at Amazon, I was working the overnight shift at Amazon, you know what I mean, at the
Yeah.
factory every night. The next day, I got a letter in the mail that said, "You're accepted to Rowan University," which is the local university in my town.
Yeah.
And we knew we were having a baby. I got accepted. I like must have applied on a whim. You know what I mean? Let's see what happens. I'm 29 years old at the time. I called my girl. I'm at Amazon and I'm like, "Babe, what do you think about this? Like, should I do it? Is this crazy?" And she was like, "You know what? Let's do it." Like, she has a job. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And I took my like vest off. I took my walkie-talkie, all that stuff, and I'm like, "All right, guys, I'm out of here. Like, I can't do this anymore." And I walked
Yeah.
out that night at like 3 o'clock in the morning. September, I go back to college for advertising. I know this is a crazy story. It takes a while to get there.
No, no, it's a good story. It's
And
inspiring.
so I go back to college for advertising because I've always been into, what is the meaning behind the colors of advertisement and the theories and you know
Sure.
what I mean? Just like the little artsy nuances of what grabs attention and holds attention and social media algorithms, all that stuff. So I go there, I link up somehow with the tap dance club, and these are kind of people who I've heard about. Like the main teacher is Karen, who is a local Philadelphia tap dancer, and just immediately she's like, "Oh, this guy," and I'm like 29 years old. You know what I mean? I'm not a kid walking in there. Like I'm like focused in. I'm like, I know what I want to do, and then so all these opportunities just from that going back to college and meeting this one person took me into Philadelphia, and that was 2022, almost in December. And since that next semester, I've gotten so busy. So because of having my daughter, I had that Christmas break, and I started filming myself, and just you know what I mean, online.
Yeah, Instagram. If you go to the Instagram at It's Connor Kelly, you will see the tap dancing and just amazing things. Okay, the toe thing just makes me insane. I'm
The
like,
toe thing, yeah, that's been coined one of one of my steps, but
Your signature steps? It's a Connor
I'm
step?
not taking that. No. So
I take it, take it.
no. So just like, you know what I mean? The snowball effect happened pretty much, and I joined up with the right people. I got into the Philadelphia Jazz Tap Ensemble. All these things happening at one time. From that next semester, I got so like booked up and busy that I literally had to make the decision, and I can't continue to keep going to class every day. You know what I mean? I have a daughter, and I would have to have had to choose, am I going to stay here and get the degree in advertising or change, or just take the opportunity that's literally being like fed to me? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it was really having my daughter, meeting my girl, having my daughter, and going back to college was the formula that led me to put my shoes back on and like really fall in love even harder all over again.
Yeah, yeah. Oh my God, that's so inspiring. It's a beautiful story. It may not have been, it seemed very long for you, but it's a beautiful story of just following those dreams and following those signs. You picked up on the signs that universe, God, source, however you refer to your higher power, was putting it, laying it right in front of you. You
Mhm.
don't even remember, and it's so funny that you said that you don't even remember how that invitation to the university happened. You don't
Yeah.
remember, probably you did it. Things like anything that was meant to be that's happened to me, same thing. I don't really remember the details on how I ended up there. I just remembered I ended up there. And
Yeah.
that leads to another opportunity, to being introduced to other people, another opportunity. And anything really amazing in my life was like, somebody goes, well, how did you do that? Or how did you meet them? Or how did that come along? I truly don't remember. I
Yeah.
truly don't recall. I just remember that it happened. So when you go through things like that, that to me is divinely guided. And your daughter being that inspiration of saying, "Hey, I gotta focus here."
Right.
And congratulations for being sober. Congratulations for taking a different path, which tells us that we can always make that decision, that choice. We talked about choice at my opening, making a choice in life to do something different. So congratulations for that. That's so cool.
Thank you so
But
much.
but now you're down this road where you're doing these festivals, and it almost sounds like that Philadelphia, the Brewery Town Tap Dance Festival. Is that something you're putting together, or you're part of putting it together? Because it sounds like there's a different name to it now.
You want the long version or the short
I
version?
want the longer. Well, right now I'm going to say hold on to it because we're going to go into a break in about 2 minutes. So we can start it and then you can continue it in the second segment. So how did that come about? Like it sounds like one of your pet projects.
Yeah, so like I said, when I got connected with the head tap teacher at the university, she kind of pushed me in this direction to go meet this lady, Pamela Hetherington. She used to run a building called Soundspace, which like hosted a lot of events and stuff. And Philadelphia is one of like in historically it's one of the tap dance capitals of the world.
I did not know.
But recently it seems like it's not talked about within the niche of tap dance. Like it's not a hub, which is weird because there's a lot of like tap dance history that comes out of Philadelphia. So I'm not from Philadelphia, which is something I always mention because I feel like they adopted me. They're like, yeah, you're from Philly. Like I'm 20 minutes from Philly on the Jersey side. You know what I mean?
Okay, we'll still talk to you.
Yeah. And so I go there and I'm just full of like I'm hungry. You know what I mean? I just need more. And I'm like, why don't we do something? Like what it wasn't my initial goal to say like the Philly Tap Fest because I'm not from Philly. I'm like, why don't we do something if we're not doing anything? You know what I mean? I feel the need to create something and make people come enjoy it. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
that was the initial thought behind the first Brewery Town Tap Dance Festival.
Which I find ironic that you called it Brewery Town.
Well,
Tap.
that's the neighborhood. That's one of like the things that I didn't want to say. We didn't want to say like Philly because we didn't want to take the broad name of Philadelphia as like, especially me coming not from Philly, saying this is the Philly Tap Fest, and they go, this guy's from New Jersey. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. You
So
want
the
to be
neighborhood,
authentic.
yeah, the neighborhood we're in is called Brewery Town, which is just, however many blocks. It's like a
Gotcha.
barrel in.
Gotcha. It's almost like Little Italy.
Yeah, yeah.
right? Yeah, down in Brewery Town. Yeah, that's pretty cool. We're going to take a short break.
Okay.
And we're going to come back and continue our conversation with Connor Kelly. You can find him on Instagram on It's Connor Kelly. You have to check out his Instagram and the tap dancing that he does. And there's a couple, there's one there I want to talk about when we get back from the break. And we're going to take a short break. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Healthy Lifestyle with Lori Anne. I am Coach Lori Anne, America's #1 Take Action Success Coach and Strategist. If you'd like to be a guest, lift up your business, your product, your not-for-profit, or if you have questions or comments, we'd love to hear from you. So email us at healthylifestylewithla@gmail.com. That's healthylifestylewithla@gmail.com. Yes, I talk New York fast. You'll just have to catch up with me. That's all I have to say with that. So we're here talking with Connor Kelly, who is an unbelievable tap dancer. Check him out on his Instagram at It's Connor Kelly. You are going to be blown away with his talent. And then you get a little snippet of his little girl too. She tap dance, he taps dance, and then she does her version. It's so adorable. I just can't. Anyway, Connor, thank you. Welcome back to the show. So glad that you're here.
Thanks for having me, honestly.
So we were talking about the fact that you came up with this idea with some friends to do Brewery Town Tap Dance Festival, and soon to be called the Philly Festival. So I know that you named it after Brewery Town, right? Brewery Town.
Yeah.
First, because you didn't want to kind of co-op Philly, but now you're leveling it up to make it a bigger situation. What happened? How come we're changing the name? I'm loving it.
So, like I said, it was on almost a whim of let's just do something. I think we did it, and I think I said those exact words in August, and we made it happen by November of last year. So it wasn't a great window of like preparation and this and that. And yeah, we worked like every day, emailing and reaching out and stuff like that. And
Sure.
the turnout was very well received for the amount of time that we had. We got NPR to come out and give an interview and like stuff like that. And so it turned out very, very well. We had a lady called Jermaine Ingram who
Okay.
danced with LaVon Robinson, who is like the king of Philadelphia tap dance. And she's still living. And she came out and like did our closing show and performed with Diane Monroe, who's an amazing fiddle player. And they did this like awesome experimental jazz piece. And yeah, it turned out very well. So the lady I mentioned earlier, Karen, introduced me to Robert F. Burden Jr., who was a protege of LaVon when he was living. And all these people went through U Arts, which has recently closed. I don't know if you heard about that. It was that they kind of just seemed to close down overnight, and like, yeah, a bunch of backlash and stuff for that. But that's not why we're here. So like LaVon taught at U Arts, and he gave his like, his whole repertoire to certain people to go around the world and teach it. You know what I mean? This is
Keep the
probably
legacy. Keep his legacy.
yeah, keep
Yeah.
his legacy going. And one of those people is Robert F. Burden Jr. And I met up with him through, I forget exactly. I met up with him something in Philly, and we kicked it off. He's older than me, so he's like an older dude. We just kicked it off. I call him now, you know what I mean, at least once a month, and just chop it up and say, what's going on? What should I be doing? So he's got like a big umbrella of, I don't mean to say it like this, for lack of better words, he's got like the juice, the power in Philadelphia. You know what I mean? To like,
Yeah.
And then so I got him on board. A guy called Brian Davis. He goes by Mr. Taptastic. Kareen, Rochelle. There's just like a handful of well-known Philadelphia tap dancers that came on board, and really, I just wanted to be the inspiration. Like I just wanted to drive something almost organically that it could continue without like a leader. You know what I mean? Something that could continue as its own thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. Well,
So
you're
all
taking
these
an
people,
art and you're elevating people's awareness to it. And the people who are the big people in it who have the juice, if you will, right?
yeah,
They're coming in and saying, "Yes, I want to be part of this." That's big. That's huge. You should be so proud, Connor.
yeah,
That's
that's
so
why
cool.
I said they adopted me. They're like I'm their little New Jersey adopted son. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So they've really taken the reins, and like I attend the meetings and I do whatever is asked of me, you know what I mean? I post, I talk about it everywhere I go, and anytime I teach. We just opened the registration, so if you go to phillytapfest.org, you can register. You can see it on there. I don't need to break down the whole website, but
Yeah, and what we'll do is we'll include it with this episode so that all the information will be below and you can just grab onto it and just use the link. We'll make it very easy for everybody, but phillytapfest.org is important. Go there so you can go. What's the dates of this event?
that's going to be November 1st, 2nd, and 3rd.
First, second, and third. Okay, November 1st, second, and third. So we have time to go register to come down and see that. So fun fact, there was somebody who you may know the name of who taught me how to tap dance.
What's the name?
Yep, yep, yep. Ralph Macchio.
Ralph Macchio.
I went to school with Ralph. He remember Wax On, Wax Off, the
Yeah,
Karate Kid.
yeah.
Ralph Macchio, yeah, I went to school with him, and so he was the dancer in all of our shows, and he had to teach
No
me
way.
tap, and yeah, so I learned my first steps from Ralph. So he was
That's
an
the original
incredible
Karate
dancer.
Kid.
What?
The original Karate Kid.
The original Karate Kid.
That's
Yeah, from
crazy.
Cobra Kai. Now that he has the show Cobra Kai. Yeah,
Yeah.
he also lived down the block for me when I was growing up, and then oddly enough, he lived down the block for me where I am now. I re-met up with him when he was having his son and I was having my second son, and he named him Daniel actually. But great guy, unbelievably talented, very, very modest, similar to you, just loves doing what he does. Unbelievable dancer. I mean, he was unbelievable. He was in a show, you won't remember this because you're too young, but Eight is Enough. He was the I think nephew or cousin in Eight is Enough. And he was a dancer in that and he just amazing. But I learned tap from him.
That's so cool.
Yep, yep,
But
yep.
that's like about tap dance is this is why if you meet anyone as a tap dancer or someone who's passionate about it or just a very big fan of it, if you meet someone at an event or you know what I mean, if you're a feature, they always come up to you and say, tap dance is dying. It's not dying. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
But
not at
back
all.
in the day, it was required. Like it was like every artist learned it, knew about it,
Yeah,
and probably knew some history about it. You know what I mean? It was one of those like three, like to make a triple threat, you had to like,
you have to tap dance.
yeah, you had to know
Absolutely.
about it, which I think that doesn't exist as much anymore. So I think that's why the perception of the people who aren't like huge fans of tap dance always say that, which drives
Yeah.
me crazy.
But I think, it's resurging by having festivals like this, like the Philly Tap Fest, which again, you can go to phillytapfest.org and be able to go see that. It's in Philly. It's an easy drive from New York, from Connecticut, from New Jersey, from Pennsylvania. Come on, people, just come on over and see it. And Connor, you're gonna dance, yeah?
Yeah, it's gonna be like classes, jam sessions, live music, and then performance at the end.
Amazing. And so it's 3 full days of just tap happy, right?
Yes, ma'am.
I love that. I absolutely love that. What brings you the biggest joy about tap dancing? Like what is it that fills your heart about it? Is it the rhythm? Is it just being able to communicate music that way? Because it's a musical communication through dance.
Well, yeah, it's besides, step, Irish step dance, clogging, it's the original. We're not only performers, we're not only dancers, but we're also composing as improvisational tap dancers. It's essentially just being another part of a jazz band. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Yeah, speaking of which, on your Instagram, I noticed that you did this and I loved it. There was a band in the corner and you were it looked like maybe a gym or something. And you were dancing and you kind of lowered them down and you took a little bit of a like a dance break, if you
Yeah.
will. and then you let the musicians come back in, and it was just such a beautiful melding of both, of like handing it back and forth between the arts.
Mhm.
I love that. That was one of my favorite ones of many favorites. I love that one. That must be so thrilling and fulfilling to be able to just do that literal dance back and forth between the musicians and what you're doing. So it was very complimentary. I loved it.
Yeah, I mean, that's a very big part of it is, like I said, the history, right? So if we know how to speak, if we learn words to speak a sentence in order to write a poem, you know what I mean? We learn these steps in order to understand what they say, and then we can put them into our own sentences, which I think the ultimate goal of a tap dancer is to be able to speak freely. You know what I mean? To not do choreography, to be able to do all that, yes, technical, yes, but to be able to just speak your thoughts on like how we speak. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
So that's the goal. And your question was if what is it about tap dance that like
Sends your soul on fire, sets it on fire.
yeah,
It's like when I sing, I am in my happy place. Other
right.
people may not be, but I'm in my happy place.
I didn't know you sang. I
I
gotta
do.
hear something.
I've been a
I gotta
singer a
hear
long time.
something. All right, we'll link up after this. And
There you go. There
yeah.
you go. No, I love it. It is my happiest place. Like there's no happier place. The happiest thing I've ever done is have my boys, and then the happiest thing I ever get to do is to sing. Oh, happy. And the bigger the band, the better.
That's awesome. So for me, like I said, I am an alcoholic, you know what I mean? I struggle with that having my daughter. Like everything is connected, so it's hard for me to speak on one particular thing because it makes sense in my mind that this is why this and this is why that, you
Sure.
know?
Yeah.
So for me, it's like a sense of meditation. It's a sense of connecting with whatever my higher power and universal guide is, you know what I mean?
Yes.
And it's just love. Like it's just express it's like but it's not just express love, it's express how you feel, whether
Yeah.
it's happy, sad, you know what I mean? It's all those
Yeah.
things. And it really is life for me. Like
It's a
it's
nonverbal way to connect with other humans
yeah, and yourself and
and yourself and your universe, God source, however you
yeah,
refer to
right,
your higher power, right? So yeah,
exactly.
there's definitely that connect. I hear you on that. That's why I know. So when you have that connection here and like goosebumps head to toe right now, when you have that connection here, you know you're doing exactly what you're intended to do. You're doing what you're supposed to be doing when you're down here, and that connection and doing something bigger than yourself, like the Philly Tap Fest. I mean, that is humongous that, you were just like, hey, why don't we do this? And it's like, hey, I got a barn in the backyard. Want to do a show? That's a throwback to, when I was younger, Brady Bunch, I have
Yeah,
a barn, let's go do a show. But it kind of goes back to that and to preserve something that really is just seeped in history. It goes all the way back to the step dancers and it's a form, just like jazz music. It's a form of other music.
yeah,
Uh, Rock and roll comes from jazz. Country music comes from rock and roll.
yeah,
So there's connections back and forth and jazz, but there's connections through all music. There's connections through the different interpretive dances and things like that. And it's just so beautiful to watch the energy and but I would be on my face doing half of the things that you're doing. I don't even know how you stand upright, and you're very tall. So when you came to over with a mutual friend of ours, shout out to Tyler.
oh,
When
Tyler.
yeah, when you came over, and I was just like, oh my God, two skyscrapers in my house. You're very, very tall. So it's just amazing that you're able to manage the inertia that happens while you're moving, So there's a management. It's different than when you're a little kid. The
Right.
inertia is like really your center of gravity is a lot lower. So I'm just amazed at what you do, totally amazed at what you do. If you were to just do an analogy for us, your younger career versus your 30-year-old career, what would that sound like?
Hmm. Like as a young person, I had to reach out to a lot of people that I worked with, like Jason, Joe Webb, Kyle Wilder. Like these are all people who Jason Samuel Smith, which he makes the world's biggest, most successful tap shoes that most students who take tap dance wear nowadays. I was talented, but I was like, I wasn't in it for the wrong reasons, but I wasn't realizing where I was when I was there. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And so I would be in a rehearsal that was probably life changing, and all I'm thinking about is like, yo, what are we gonna do after this? Like, is everyone hanging out? Is everyone partying? You know what I mean? Like those little details
In the
really,
meantime, you're in the room with like Jared Grimes or Harry
yeah,
Cromer, right?
yeah,
And
stuff
you're,
like that.
yeah, yeah, and you're not recognizing the depth of the importance. It's almost like being at the Olympics and going, "Hey, are we gonna get pizza?"
Yeah,
What?
exactly.
You're at the Olympics. What is wrong with you? You know,
Yeah,
yeah, I get that. But that comes with youth. That comes with not understanding the importance of history and the people in the room
right.
and what you can gain from somebody who has a lot of history in the industry. Now, when you look at the people and you're in those rooms, you're gathering information and really sopping it up like a sponge.
Exactly.
Yeah, with appreciation and knowledge.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, like I said, I reached out and I was like, hey, like I really, you know what I mean? I wasn't quite aware of what was happening. And tap dance is such a weird thing because even when I was in it as a young person, most of the people who had like, I like to think of them as like the source of whatever it is. Like
Yeah,
all the masters of tap dance had passed away, or like Jimmy Slide or Bunny Briggs was very old when I was even born. Like, and they weren't really around where I was around. So like those people only passed it to these people. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying?
yeah, I
So
do.
there's a direct lineage of where you get your information and how pure it is because I was getting like pretty much the purest stuff. You know what I mean? The secondhand down from the
Second generation.
information, which would make me like the third generation of tap dancer.
Yeah.
And
How
I was
cool is
like,
that?
yeah, like,
That's like me in my industry as a coach, right?
yeah,
I'm learning from Jack Canfield. He's huge in my industry. Tony Robbins, huge in Joe Dispenza, Bob Proctor, who just recently passed away. The biggies, I'm in their lives and I'm learning from them. Louise L. Hay, just having those people when I was little, they
yeah,
were the superstars. They were coming up. They were really trying to master what they were doing, and now we're the next generation. So it's really cool to be part of that and to recognize it. That's the cool. Everything starts from awareness, right? So being aware that this is where you are gives it the sense of one, importance, and two, responsibility, don't you think?
yeah. Like, without getting too deep into it, like I said, I'm a white male in an African American art form. Then that already comes with responsibility of, gaining knowledge and not always being the one to like just speak on it because I know my teachers could tell you more, right? Like, so it's like I can tell you what I know, but like what I think is still in development. You know what I mean? So
Sure.
it's like having the, I don't know, the responsibility of passing information correctly. You know what I
Which
mean?
means you have the responsibility of having those conversations and having that exposure with those people in order to gain that information. I feel the same thing when I speak to Jack Canfield, who's a mentor of mine, right? I feel like I'm responsible partially for his legacy, making sure that it's properly the information is properly disseminated forward to my group of people that I'm told by Universe God Source that I'm supposed to be teaching and helping along the way, right? So we
Mhm.
get to move that information forward, maybe make it better, maybe find another way to present it so it reaches more people. We don't know, but
Right.
it's really cool to be on the ride, don't you think?
I love it. I love being on the ride. It's like life. Yeah.
It is life changing, right? So I love being on the ride. So hold on tight. It's going to probably get even more interesting. So in our last few minutes, I'm a take action success coach. What action can our listeners and viewers do right after this episode is done to take action right now?
I would say it's cliche and like it's literally fed to you so much that I think people overlook it is that just do it. You know what I mean? Like that thing that's always like on Instagram and TikTok is like you're procrastinating. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Literally, it's so simple. Every time you come home, if you're working a 9 to 5 job, like work on your little passion project and do it and put it in the world. And
Yes.
you're gonna have to go through tribulations. You're gonna have to, be bad at it. You're gonna have to have people come for you. You're gonna have to do all that, but you gotta get through all that to get what you want.
Yes.
It, it,
Yes.
it's not being shameless, but there's a sense of, humbleness, and like you got to take the shade to get the sunshine. You know what I mean?
Absolutely, unapologetically, absolutely, absolutely. That's inspirational. I love it. Connor, you're amazing. Again, you can find Connor at Instagram at It's Connor Kelly. And just amazing. Really, in the last few seconds, can I see pictures of the baby? I want to see your beautiful St. Clair.
So this is her like right when she was born.
Oh, that's a beautiful picture. Love it. For the people on
I had
radio,
the
you can
beard.
see it later.
Yeah, I had the beard going.
Yeah, the beard going. I'm loving the beard look.
And then this is her probably almost a year ago now. She has
Oh my
longer
gosh.
hair.
Look at
She's
those
cute.
photos.
She's in the 90th percentile. So she looks like now she's like 21 months old. She looks like a 3-year-old almost, but she's only, a year and a half and a couple months. And
Well, if you want to see pictures of St. Clair, all you have to do is go to Instagram at It's Connor Kelly. Connor, thank you so much for being here today. Amazing conversation. Really appreciate it. Love to have you on just before your event on November 1st, 2nd, and 3rd at the Philly Tap Fest. And you can find more information below or phillytapfest.org. Thank you all for joining us today on Healthy Lifestyle with Lori Anne. I hope we earned the privilege of your time. Again, I want to thank our guest today, Connor. Connor, thank you so much.
thank you.
Look for our show next Saturday at 3 p.m. on JVC Broadcasting and iHeartRadio. We also can be found on all major platforms and would be so grateful if you would please like, follow, share, and subscribe. Until next time, I am Coach Lori Anne, America's #1 Take Action Success Coach. Remember, let your dreams be bigger than your fears. Let your life be filled with joy. Have a great weekend. We'll see you next time.